President Obama announced a plan to help Americans pay off their student loans more easily.
The plan would allow nearly 6 million borrowers to combine their debt into a single loan at a lower interest rate. CBS News national correspondent Dean Reynolds has more on the high price of higher education.
You don't need to be a math major to know that the cost of college is adding up, increasing 8.3% in just the last year. With tuition, room and board, and fees, the average charge at a public university for in-state students is now $17,000 a year.
What is this?
80% of American college students are in public institutions. People such as Katrina Manilak, a senior at the University of Illinois at Chicago. She's paid for her education with student loans, $50,000 worth of loans.
Tell me what that's like.
It's a really overwhelming feeling. I like, as much as I don't want to think about it, I have to think about it.
In hard economic times and with federal stimulus dollars running out, states have had to make painful budget cuts. Public education is a regular target. And for many governors, raising taxes to cope is politically risky. So schools have little choice but to raise their fees.
The biggest reason for tuition increases, quite simply, are state budget cuts. In the unrelenting mathematics of public higher education, state budget cuts equal tuition increases.
It's a trend that seems to be accelerating.
The last 30 years, states have consistently been reducing support for higher education and letting tuition make up the difference.
The College Board reports roughly 56% of graduates at public four-year schools left campus with an average debt of $22,000. And while it's not clear how long this can go on, students and their parents would love to know the answer. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Chicago.
And joining us now is personal finance expert Carmen Wong Ulrich, author of The Real Cost of Living. Carmen, good to have you with us as always here this morning.
Guys.
So who really benefits from this plan?
Well, here's the thing. Current students and students just graduating. And the plan goes into effect later on. We're talking about 10% of your discretionary income is where your income-based repayment plan is going to be capped. But we still have $1 trillion of outstanding student loan debt. I'm still paying my grad school loans. There's so many of us are doing that too, Erica,
I'm
too.
paying undergrad, yeah.
So this is very normal, but here's the thing. It's quite the bubble because you have incredible college costs, you have so many student loans, but then you have really high unemployment. So the jobs aren't there to pay those bills.
So then what do you do now as you are, as people may be visiting schools or trying to decide if they want to go back to school to try to get a job? What do you have to take into account?
Here's the thing. It's not a rite of passage anymore. It's not like the thing to do after high school. It's an investment. It has risks. So you have to treat it as an investment and really consider, what am I studying and what kind of loans are you getting? You need to know the difference between federal loans and private loans. You want federal loans. You want as many federal loans as you can get. Lower interest rates, great repayment plans, and if you're out of work, you can file for deferment or forbearance. So there's a lot of flexibility.
Private loans, you don't have a whole lot of flexibility, and that's why you
There is absolutely no flexibility with private loans. So you really want to avoid those. Those are the riskiest loans to get.
All right, I guess when reviewing some of the pros and cons to navigate this process, what would you recommend people do?
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is just formed, of course, if you go to their website, which is consumerfinance.gov, they actually have some tools that show you if you're having trouble repaying your loans, what to do, where can you go, and it takes you through the process as to who to contact. It's actually a very useful and very easy to use site. Now, also with the president's plan is the income-based repayment plan. Now, this is if you're working and you're having trouble making those payments because your salary is so low, go to ibrinfo.org and you have more information there on the plan, how to use the plan. The key here thing I think is the biggest change isn't to that actual plan, but the fact that it's out there, that we're learning more about it because folks need to know.
There's also, what's this other website? FinAid, I guess, which stands for financialaid.org.
FinAid.org. It's a fantastic free site, deep with information as to where to go and find out what is subsidized versus unsubsidized. What's better? What kind of loans can I get? And also scholarships and grants. You want to go and exhaust all those options, do a ton of work. You have to be a really informed consumer. As much time as you spend on buying a house, buying a car, this is what you need to spend time on.
Get as much free money as you can. When it comes to, you just mentioned a couple different types. When it does come to these federal loans, there are a number of different types that fall under that category.
There are different types. We want to look for words like Stafford, Grad Plus, direct loans, Perkins loans. And know this, when it comes to subsidized loans, these loans are, the interest is paid for by the government while you're in school, okay, and while you put it into deferment or forbearance. So the loan doesn't grow. Unsubsidized, that's the second best, but just make sure they're federal. The interest does accumulate, so you always want to go for the subsidized first.
What kind of rates are we talking about?
We're talking between 5 and 6%.
5 and 6%. Okay.
Yeah.
Carmen, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to see you.